Hi, what's happening, everybody? My name is Micossi, and welcome to yet a new live streaming of this Unstuck My Playing. I don't know if I call it the podcast or whatever this is, broadcast. And in today's live stream, this is the second of 30 that I'm going to be doing, like 30 days in a row. I'm going to be going live every single day for 30 days in a row, and I'm going to be teaching you different stuff that you need to learn. If you're a guitar player who's stuck right now, if you feel yourself stagnated, and if that stagnation is due to mainly never having a formal education as a musician, and now you want to try to understand like the more theoretical parts, like the ear training parts, all those things that we usually take for, I wouldn't say we take for granted, but we just forget or we skip altogether because we want to get to play the cool stuff, the cool riff, the cool solos, and we forget about studying like the boring shit that's actually going to give you results long term. And so what I'm going to be doing in this video today, because in the previous live stream that I actually did yesterday, I talked about 3 things that you need to do in order to get your shit together, or the first steps that you need to start implementing to get your shit together. And those are, first of all, learn the notes on the fretboard, because there's guitar players who have been playing for many years, for more than 15 years, 20 years, or 30 years even, and they never took the time to actually learn the fretboard, and that's a major cause for stagnation, okay? Because of course, if you go online and want to look for tutorials, especially if they are dealing with the juicy stuff, like the more advanced stuff, all the things, all those cool sounding chords, etc., they are probably going to take for granted that you already know the notes and how to find them on the fretboard. So that's key. And that's what we're going to cover today in this live stream. That was the first thing. The other 2 things were learn how to find the most common chords all over the fretboard. And the third thing was learn how to improvise using the pentatonic and connecting all the scale positions all over the fretboard. So today we're going to talk about how to learn the fretboard, how to understand the fretboard, because one of the things that some people think, or some players think they need to do in order to learn this beast, is going online and downloading an image with all the notes and then try to memorize that by brute force. Well, that's just stupid. And it's going to be incredibly hard, very frustrating, very boring. You're not going to understand why you're memorizing all that junk, and it's not going to be useful. A much more useful approach is understanding how the notes work within our musical system. It's not that complicated. That's what I'm going to show you today. And then learn how to find those notes on the fretboard. So let's get started. But before we do, let me shamelessly plug my lessons here. Okay, so if you want to take one-on-one lessons with me, and I don't know why I haven't mentioned my name before. I'm Mario Micossi. I'm a professional guitar player and teacher. I'm from Argentina. That's why I have this accent. That's why I speak the way I speak. And one of the most important things that you could do to further your development as a guitar player is going to a teacher. If you don't want to come with me, that's fine. Go to somebody that you like better. But if you want me to be that dude, if you watch these live streams, if you watch my YouTube videos, and by the way, I have a YouTube channel, you can find it with the name of Unstuck My Playing, where I also upload things playing the guitar, actually showing my skills. But anyway, so if you don't want to come with me, don't come with me, but go with some teacher, with some dude that actually knows what he's doing and that's going to help you. But if you want me to be that dude, go to unstuckmyplaying.com, and there's a free class there, and you gain access to that class, leaving me your name and your email address. And then you will watch a class, and if you like what you see there, the way I explain things, and the way that I'm going to be able to help you, or the way I say that I'm going to be able to help you if we finally end up working together, then you fill up the application form, and I will contact you as soon as possible, and we will take it from there, okay? So enough for the plug here. I'm going to erase my name, and I'm going to go into explaining mode, okay? I'm gonna leave myself really small here, and let me show you this whiteboard. Okay, so the reason I have a keyboard here and not a fretboard is because it's way easier to explain the musical system on the keyboard. It's much more visual, and the reason for that is that this instrument, the piano, was invented in the 19th century when the musical system, the Western system, was already fully developed. And so this was created it was like tailor-made for that system, and that's why it's so easy to visualize things on the keyboard. And the fretboard is a little bit more complicated, and so I will start here, like showing you the basic system of how the notes work, and then I'm going to show you how to find them on the fretboard. Trust me, it's going to be easier that way. So the first thing you may notice here is that we have white keys and black keys. Okay, you don't have to be a genius to observe that difference here on the picture on the screen. The white keys are going to be what we know as the natural notes. Okay, those are the natural notes, and I'm going to write this down here. The natural notes. Okay, and those are 7. Okay, the 7 natural notes, and those are C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. Those are the 7 natural notes. And what happens over here is the system starts all over again from the next octave, okay? One octave higher. C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. And then it happens all over again and all over again. Okay? So the reason of why we call these chunks octaves is because if I start from C, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's why we call them octaves. Because this C is a C 1 octave higher than the previous C. Okay, and this sounds exactly the same. So if I play on the guitar, for example, if I play 2 Cs, 1 octave separated by an octave, I have 1 C here on the 3rd fret of the 5th string, and then on the 5th fret of the 3rd string I have another C 1 octave higher. So that's why I can play this melody, and that's why you hear the same melody, but in the second case it was higher. Okay, but you basically hear the same melody. So those are going to be the octaves. Okay, and then okay, let me draw this a little bit better here. So those are the 7 natural notes which happen to be, in combination, the C major scale. Okay, C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. And now we have these black keys here, and these dudes are what we call the 5 altered notes. Okay, altered. Alter notes, okay? The alter notes, this is where things starts getting a little bit confusing for some people, okay? So between C and D, okay, I have a tone. Okay, this is a tone. But between this and this, I have a semitone. And I'm going to explain this a little bit more in detail in a second. So, okay, let me draw this here. Look, between C and D, I have this dude here, and I could either call this C sharp, okay, and we notate this with this symbol that I don't really know how, the numeral symbol, and then we have C sharp, and then we have D flat. We can call this dude with both names, okay? C sharp means that this is a C plus a semitone, okay? Or 1 step, or 1/2 step. And D flat means that this is a D note minus a 1/2 step, or minus a semitone, okay? So, again, we have 7 natural notes, which are the white keys, 5 alter notes, which are the black keys, and between each one of the keys, okay, it doesn't matter if they are white or black, from one key to the immediate next one, I have a semitone. So from C to C sharp or D flat, I have a semitone. From C sharp to D, I have a semitone. From D to D sharp, I have a semitone, and then from that note to the next one to E, I have a semitone, etc., etc. Those are semitones. The semitones is the shortest distance between one note and the next one, okay? Now, a tone is the distance, is two semitones, basically, okay? So a tone is just like a semitone is the shortest distance between one note and the next one, the immediate next one, and a tone is two semitones. Now, these other alterations here are called exactly the same, okay? C sharp, if I have C sharp or D flat between C and D, between D and E I will have D sharp, which is D plus a half step or plus a semitone. So I will have a D sharp or an E flat. Okay? And it's exactly the same for all the rest of them. Now, notice that between E and F, I don't have any altered notes. So I don't have E sharp and I don't have F flat. Okay? So that's just, we will leave that at that. And then, okay, so between F and G, as you can probably imagine, I have F sharp, okay, and G flat. And I'm going to explain this just one more time so you get it. In case you don't, you can just skip this part. But remember, the altered notes are the sharps and the flats. And the sharps, okay, sharps, is just the same note. So between C and D, for example, between C and D, I have C sharp, which means C plus a half step, okay? Or I can call this same note a D flat, okay? That's the flats. Flats. Okay? I can call it a D flat because it's a D minus a half step or a semitone. So a semitone and half step is the same, and step or tone is the same. Okay. I'm going to complete this so you can see it. Okay. So between G and A, I have G sharp, or A flat. Between A and B, I have A sharp or B flat. And then between B and C, I don't have any alterations, okay? Or any altered notes. So that's all you need to know about how the notes work within our musical system at the beginning, okay? Now let's see how we find this, how we can make this information useful to the guitar fretboard, okay? I have here, I don't know why I have this blank page here. Okay, so I have here a fretboard, okay? So what we're gonna do is we were gonna start from the E, from the low E string, okay? The open string, which is the 6th string on our guitar, okay? So let's start from E here, okay? So again, this is the order of the notes. If I am starting from E, because the lowest note that we can play on the guitar is like that low E of the 6th string, if we are using standard tuning, then we're gonna pick an E, and we're gonna go in order, okay? So remember, between E and F, we have a full tone, excuse me, between E and F, we have a semitone, okay? We don't have any alterations. So we have the shortest distance that we can find between one note and the other. We find that here between E and F. So the first fret is going to be an F. Okay, so that's why I have a semitone between E and F, right? Then the next natural note is going to be G. Okay, so remember, between F and G, we have this altered note that we can call it either F sharp or G flat. So we're gonna just go to the 3rd fret, and that's the G, okay? And then what I'm gonna do in this example, what you need to do right now is don't bother with all the altered notes and or anything like that. The only thing you need to do right now is find the natural notes, okay, on each string. So in this case, we start from E, E, F, G, then we have A on the fifth one, okay, then we have B, okay, and then remember, between B and C, we don't have any alter notes, so that's a semitone or a half step or whatever. Okay, we have B and C, and then we have between C and D, we have a full tone, a whole tone, and then between D and E, we have a tone again. Okay, and then on the 12th fret, if you notice here, we have an octave. We arrived again to a new E, one octave higher than the open string. Okay, and that's because we go full on all the notes of the system in each string when we arrive to the 12th fret. If we have like 7 natural notes and 5 alterations or 5 alter notes, then that's 7 plus 5, that equals 12. That's why we arrive in the 12th fret to that note. And let me show you real quick with the guitar. Okay, if I start from an open E string and I go F, G, A, B, C, D, E, I'm gonna arrive to another E on the 12th fret, and that happens with all the other strings. Okay, it's exactly the same with all the other strings. Now, a very cool thing about the guitar, or a very cool thing for those of you who are lazy to memorize stuff, is that the first string is also an E. Okay, so if you learned the first one, you actually are learning, if you learn the 6th string, you're at the same time learning the first one. Okay, F, G, A, B, C, D, and then E again on the 12th frets. Okay, now if you memorize this, and one easy way to memorize is just going up and down the neck, saying out loud the notes as you play them: F, G, A, B, C, D, E, and then backwards: E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, etc. Okay, now it becomes really easy to find any one of the alter notes, because let's say that I told you, let's find an A flat on the 6th string. Well, then you go to the A note, which is on the 5th string, on the 5th fret on the 6th string, and then you go just one step backwards, and that's an A flat. Okay? Remember, the flat is backward and the sharps are forward. So this is the same note as the G sharp. So if I ask you to find the G sharp, then you go to the G and just go one half step forward, and you will have here a G. Okay, I'm a musician, not an artist, not a graphic design artist. So you have G sharp, okay? So the same goes for the other notes. Let's say that I want to find a C sharp. Well, you go to the C sharp, to the C note here on the 8th fret, and then you just go one step forward, or one half step forward, I should better say, and you have a C sharp there, which happens to be the same note as a D flat, okay? And the same is going to go for the next, for the other strings, okay? So let's do the same experiment, but let's start from the G string, okay? The open G string, that's the 3rd string. So we have to start from G. Here's a G. The next note is an A. That's a full tone apart, so we can't locate that note here. We actually have to go here, okay? Because I have a full tone. Then between A and B, I have a tone again. Then between B and C, I have a semitone, okay? Remember this? So that's just one fret. And then between C and D, we have a whole tone. Between D and E, a whole tone. Between E and F, we have just one semitone, okay? Remember, E and F. And then between F and G, we have a full tone, and then we arrive to the octave on the 12th fret, okay? That's why I have a G, and I have a G on the open string, okay? And that's the same with all the strings. Now, let me show you some practical steps to memorize this, because this will get to be a lot if you don't follow some order or some structure. So, first of all, you need to set some targets. A very cool target is just learn one string at a time. So, let's say today, just learn the 6th string. Or between today and tomorrow, if you just practice 20 minutes a day, just naming the notes out loud and then writing them down. Okay, if you write them down, if you just actually download from Google a fretboard, like a blank fretboard, and then you just like write over and over again the notes in different directions. It's like you go forward and backwards, and you write that. You repeat writing it over and over again, then you will memorize them. Okay, it will take you like 20 minutes a day for 2 or 3 days, and you will have that note. There are only 7 natural notes. It's not that much. Okay, so you start from the E string, and when you finish with that, you go to the A string, and then you go to the D string, etc., etc. Okay, I recommend you to follow that order. Okay, you start from the low E, start from the 6th string, and then go to the 5th, and then for the 4th, and then to the 3rd one, and then to the 2nd, and then to the 1st one. Okay. I think that these are the most important to memorize at the beginning, because it's going to be way easier to find the roots of the chords. If you follow these live streams, I'm going to be teaching the cage system, and it's going to be way easier to find those chords if you already have memorized the notes, the natural notes on the 6th, 5th, and 4th string. Okay, but you have to learn them all. Okay, the first one, remember, is the same as the 6th one, so that's way easier. And so the first thing you're gonna do is learn each one of the strings one at a time, and then once you have memorized them, you can go and start learning 1 fret a day. And the way you're gonna do that is going like this. Okay, so let's say I'm gonna take the 1st fret of the guitar, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strings, and I'm gonna go to the 1st fret. So the 1st fret, these are the notes. I have an F on the 1st string, I have a C on the 2nd string, I have a G sharp or A flat in the 3rd string. Okay, I have an I have a D sharp or E flat on the 4th string. I have a A sharp or B flat on the 5th string, and then I have an F again on the 6th string. So you're gonna repeat writing this over and over again, and then on day 2, you're gonna go to a different fret. Try to pick a fret that is not the 2nd one, because it's really easy to go from F to F sharp and then just start counting the notes. So if you really want to challenge yourself, let's pick a random fret, like for example the 7th fret. Okay, and the 7th fret is going to be, okay, the first one is going to be a B. Okay, the 2nd one is going to be an F sharp. Okay, the 3rd one is going to be a D. Okay, the 4th is going to be an A. The 5th string is going to be an E, and the 6th string is going to be a B again. Okay, then you just try to pick different frets randomly and try to memorize them. Okay, so write this down over and over again, like 20 times or 30 times in a sheet of paper, and you're gonna memorize it. Okay, now you do that every single day, like for 15 minutes every single day, and you're gonna memorize the whole fretboard like in a month maximum. Okay, and then if you want to take this one step further, I'm gonna recommend you to use an app that is really cool. It is really is more entertaining. If you don't have the guitar, you can do it just when you're stuck in traffic, or when you just don't have your guitar and you want to practice this stuff. Then I'm gonna show you. Okay, here it is. Let's go to. I don't remember the app. I'm gonna Fretboard Notes Game. That is the one. Okay, yeah, there it is. It's musictheory.net/exercises/fretboard. Okay. Come on, man. So yeah, here it is. This is a challenge. Okay. You can set this stuff to the standard tuning. Fret positions, you can start with all the strings that you want. So for example, in this case, I have all the frets until the 12th fret. I suggest you just learn until the 12th fret, because then it starts repeating all over again. because of the octaves. Okay, so if I finish on E, on the 12th fret of the E string, then you're going to have an F and a G again. Okay, it's going to, the same system is going to repeat all over again. So I can choose how many strings. In this case, I have all of them. And that's it. Okay. And okay, I'm in challenging mode. I'm not going to put challenge mode. I'm just going to turn off the challenge mode. I don't know really how to do this because I don't really remember. Okay, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to show you with the challenge mode. Okay, this is a challenge. And just, this app is going to show you different notes. So in this case, it's showing you the 6th fret on the 5th string. That's a D sharp. Okay. And then it will start like showing you random notes. Okay. In this case, that's the 2nd string on the 4th fret. That's a D sharp again. Then I have that's an E. Okay, you will have different notes. That's a G sharp, and it will start like showing you different notes, and you can like put a challenge mode, like for example, set a timer in 1 minute or 2 minutes, and then try to get right as many attempts as you possibly can, and then try to beat your marks. Okay, and that's going to be everything for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and remember, if you really want to take your playing to the next level, and if you want me to help you with this stuff, this was not about playing. This was just about how to understand the fretboard and how to visualize the notes, etc., etc. So if you want me to help you with this and more stuff that I'm going to be talking about in future live streams, then you can go to unstockmyplaying.com, watch the free class over there, and that's it. Okay, just fill up the application form and I will contact you and we will take it from there. Okay, so I hope you guys had fun. It's hard to imagine that you will have fun with all these music theory things, but I think they're pretty interesting, and when you actually get them, when you actually realize that it's not that complicated, you start applying yourself, and when you start applying yourself, you start making progress, etc., etc. So I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.